I'm Amy Robach, a mother, journalist, an early breast cancer survivor, and your correspondent. Welcome to Voices of More, a candid space for real talk about living with breast cancer where nothing is off the table. Often when we discuss breast cancer, we change the way we speak about it to suit those who might not fully understand or be comfortable with the raw realities of the diagnosis. In this episode, we'll engage in a genuine dialogue with two extraordinary women living with different stages of breast cancer. Joining us from Ohio is Carolyn, a wife and mother of 3 girls and grandmother to 2 girls. Carolyn is living with HR-positive, HER2-negative, metastatic, or stage 4 breast cancer. And Mona, a strong mother and grandmother from the Bronx, living with HR-positive, HER2-negative, early breast cancer. Welcome, Mona and Carolyn. Thank you both for being here. And before we really dive in, I want to acknowledge that every breast cancer story, every journey is different. Carolyn, I'm curious, from your perspective, what it was like to come to terms with a stage 4 diagnosis, and how do you explain that to others?
I consider myself a pretty healthy person. Never smoked, don't really drink, don't eat red meat. I'm very, very active. It's like, gosh, how did this happen? Mine had metastasized to my bones, so a lot of my friends thought I had bone cancer, and I explained, no, I have breast cancer that's metastasized to my bones. And I literally just have the mindset, and still I'm 5 years in now, the mindset every single day, when I get up, I choose to be happy. So it's a journey, but I don't let it dictate my life. I am not cancer. Cancer is something I have.
When you get that diagnosis, no one expects it. No one thinks they're going to be told they have cancer. Mona, how have you handled your diagnosis and your treatment?
Wow, I'm going to sort of piggyback off of what Carolyn said. When you get that diagnosis, it's a shock. Like, okay, again, why me? And I cried, but I said, you know what? This is another test. This is another test for me.
I do believe, though, we all have to be honest, and it's hard to be sometimes in some spaces about the other emotions that come with breast cancer. You grieve the life you used to have. Do you have those quiet, scary moments?
First of all, I'm very careful about my daughters. I hate that they worry about me. So if I'm having a bad day, which does happen occasionally, if they call me, I'm up. I fake it. Because, they have their own lives, and I don't want them worrying about it. I have a wonderful husband. I've been married for 45 years. It's hard for him because he's a fixer. Something wrong, he fixes it. He can't fix this, so that's hard.
Mona, how about you when you got that diagnosis? I don't know how you reacted. I can tell you I did not react well. I was so shocked, as we all were.
I remember it as if it was yesterday. I was told, and I went into the bathroom, the woman's room, and I just broke down. Again, you just don't expect to hear it. You don't think that it can happen to you. And it can happen to anyone. And I wiped my eyes, and I went in there, and I said, I am going to do everything I can within me, within power, to try to rectify the situation so that it doesn't escalate, because my kids need me. I am the matriarch of my family. And I also am a caregiver for my mom and my sister.
And I know that you put off your mammogram because you were taking care of your mom.
I was going every year, faithfully going every year. And, my mom got sick and my sister got sick. So my focus was really trying to take care of them. There was really no one else to really do a lot of the things. So I let 2 years go by, and I said, no, it's time that I try to focus on myself. And I went.
I found my breast cancer because I had an assignment for work to do a on-air mammogram in the middle of Times Square in a mammo van. I would never have gone to get my mammogram until I was 50, and I was 40. Carolyn, how about you? How were you with your mammogram?
It's just a routine mammogram. I didn't have any lumps or any pains or anything. And I went and they suspected they saw something, so they sent me for a biopsy. And with further testing, they determined it was stage 4 metastatic, which means it has spread to another part of my body. So I had it in my breast, my lymph node, and it had, there were lesions on my spine, and it has since spread to all my bones. So definitely, had I skipped, because I know a lot of people did skip their mammograms, I probably wouldn't be here today.
I just got chills.
Yeah.
So you never missed a mammogram.
No.
Something that's so important is advocacy, because not only about self-advocacy, and Mona, you talked about it too, but being able to advocate for others as well. Have you been able to spread the word, to be that messenger for other people to recognize their role in taking care of their own health?
I've had a lot of friends who will call me and say, my aunt was just diagnosed, or my sister-in-law, or whatever, and hopefully I'm a good example. Since I've been diagnosed, I've had a second daughter get married. I've had the birth of 2 grandchildren.
Mona, how about you in terms of being that light, or being that person, that woman who advocates for others while you're advocating for yourself? Have you found yourself in that role as well?
Yes. You know, I did a little research, and because women of color are affected, it's important to me to shed that, to show that light, and let women of all races, women of all color, to advocate for yourselves, you know, do what it is that you need to do for yourself.
Are there any mantras or final words you would like to give to anyone watching here who is living with cancer, based on your experiences, what you found works, what you found has motivated you?
Get yourself a medical team that you trust and that you feel you can ask anything. I look back and think, 5 years ago I was diagnosed. If I'd stayed in bed with the covers over my head, I would have missed a lot of stuff. I do not waste one day. I literally get up every single morning and choose to be happy.
Mona, how about you with some words of wisdom for people who are walking down that path that you've been on?
Wow. I want to say, do not allow cancer to define who you are as an individual. And my words of wisdom is, go in it with your head high. You smile, you stay smiling.
What made you, Mona, want to share your story?
I wanted people to know that even though you've been diagnosed with cancer, you're not alone. There are so many support groups out here. You know, you talk to your family, you talk to your friends, you talk to your colleagues.
Carolyn, what made you want to tell your story?
When you get that diagnosis, especially a stage 4 metastatic diagnosis, it's a gut punch. If somebody else can see me and it can give them some hope and make them less frightened, that's why I'm doing this.
You all have both reminded me just how complex and complicated this disease is, but how we're all unified in fighting it and banding together, because we are sisters. I do feel like that every time I meet someone else who's walked this walk. Our paths might be different, but we have a very deep shared experience. We're elevating the voices of our community and challenging stigmas. Our experiences matter. Our stories matter. Thank you for joining me today. And to hear more voices of strength and fortitude, visit voicesofmore.com. Please see important safety information at the end of this video.
What is KISQALI? KISQALI ribociclib is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with hormone receptor HR-positive human epidermal growth factor receptor 2 HER2-negative breast cancer in combination with an aromatase inhibitor for stage 2 and 3 early breast cancer with a high risk of coming back. It has gotten worse or has spread to other parts of the body, advanced or metastatic breast cancer, in combination with an aromatase inhibitor as the first endocrine-based therapy, or fulvestrant as the first endocrine-based therapy, or following disease progression on endocrine therapy. It is not known if KISQALI is safe and effective in children. Important safety information. KISQALI may cause serious side effects, including lung problems. KISQALI may cause severe or life-threatening inflammation of the lungs during treatment that may lead to death. Tell your healthcare provider right away if you have any new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing or shortness of breath, cough with or without mucus, chest pain. Severe skin reactions. Tell your healthcare provider or get medical help right away if you get severe rash or rash that keeps getting worse, reddened skin, flu-like symptoms, skin pain or burning, blistering of the lips, eyes, or mouth, blisters on the skin or skin peeling, with or without fever. Heart rhythm problems, QT prolongation. KISQALI can cause a heart problem known as QT prolongation. This condition can cause an abnormal heartbeat and may lead to death. Your healthcare provider should check your heart and do blood tests before and during treatment with KISQALI. Tell your healthcare provider right away if you have a change in your heartbeat, a fast or irregular heartbeat, or if you feel dizzy or faint. Liver problems. KISQALI can cause serious liver problems. Your healthcare provider should do blood tests to check your liver before and during treatment with KISQALI. Tell your healthcare provider right away if you get any of the following signs and symptoms of liver problems: yellowing of your skin or the whites of your eyes, jaundice; dark or brown, tea-colored urine; feeling very tired; loss of appetite; pain on the upper right side of your stomach area, abdomen; bleeding or bruising more easily than normal; low white blood cell counts, neutropenia. Low white blood cell counts are very common during treatment with KISQALI and may result in infections that may be severe. Your healthcare provider should check your white blood cell counts before and during treatment with KISQALI. Tell your healthcare provider right away if you have signs and symptoms of low white blood cell counts or infections, such as fever and chills. Your healthcare provider may tell you to decrease your dose, temporarily stop, or completely stop taking KISQALI if you develop certain serious side effects during treatment with KISQALI. What should I tell my healthcare provider before taking KISQALI? Before you take KISQALI, tell your healthcare provider if you have any heart problems, including heart failure, irregular heartbeats, and QT prolongation, have ever had a heart attack, have a slow heartbeat, bradycardia, have high blood pressure that is not controlled, have decreased thyroid gland function, hypothyroidism, have problems with the amount of potassium, calcium, phosphorus, or magnesium in your blood, have fever, chills, or any other signs or symptoms of infection, have liver problems, have kidney problems, are pregnant or plan to become pregnant. KISQALI can harm your unborn baby. If you are able to become pregnant, your healthcare provider should do a pregnancy test before you start treatment with KISQALI. Females who are able to become pregnant and who take KISQALI should use effective birth control during treatment and for at least 3 weeks after the last dose of KISQALI. Talk to your healthcare provider about birth control methods that may be right for you during this time. If you become pregnant or think you are pregnant, tell your healthcare provider right away. Are breastfeeding or plan to breastfeed. It is not known if KISQALI passes into your breast milk. Do not breastfeed during treatment with KISQALI and for at least 3 weeks after the last dose of KISQALI. Tell your healthcare provider about all the medicines you take, including prescription and over-the-counter medicines, vitamins, and herbal supplements. KISQALI and other medicines may affect each other, causing side effects. Know the medicines you take. Keep a list of them to show your healthcare provider or pharmacist when you get a new medicine. What should I avoid while taking KISQALI? Avoid eating grapefruit and avoid drinking grapefruit juice during treatment with KISQALI, since these may increase the amount of KISQALI in your blood. The most common side effects of KISQALI in people with early breast cancer include decreased white blood cell counts, decreased red blood cell counts, increased liver function tests, infections, increased kidney function test, decreased platelet counts, nausea, headache, tiredness. The most common side effects of KISQALI in people with advanced or metastatic breast cancer include decreased white blood cell counts, decreased red blood cell counts, increased liver function tests, infections, nausea, increased kidney function test, tiredness, decreased platelet counts, diarrhea, vomiting, headache, constipation, hair loss, cough, rash, back pain, low blood sugar level. KISQALI may cause fertility problems in males, which may affect your ability to father a child. Talk to your healthcare provider if this is a concern for you. Tell your healthcare provider if you have any side effect that bothers you or that does not go away. These are not all the possible side effects of KISQALI. For more information, ask your healthcare provider or pharmacist. Call your doctor for medical advice about side effects. you are encouraged to report negative side effects of prescription drugs to the FDA. Visit www.fda.gov/medwatch or call 1-800-FDA-1088. Please see full prescribing information, including patient information, at KISQALI.com.